Hello, I'm Damien Jones from H&H, and welcome to a brief overview of the 123 cars we've got going under the hammer at the Pavilion Gardens, Buxton on Wednesday, July the 24th. It is, as ever, a great mix of vehicles. So the catalogue cover car is a 1967 Mercedes-Benz 250 SL, which is special for a number of reasons. One, it's got a very rich history. It used to belong to a speedway rider. It spent the best part of 40 years in captivity, impounded by the Maltese authorities. It's been subject to a 1,000-hour plus restoration. It's had the mechanicals all overhauled by marque specialist Roger Edwards. It's been beautifully redone interior-wise by Aldridge Trimming. It's just a lovely, lovely example. It's covered about 300 miles since the work was completed, and it's only coming to market for the first time in 50 years because the vendor is emigrating. So that's well worth a look. At the other end of the extreme condition-wise is a 1965 Morris Mini Mk1 Rally Car. Now that's a vehicle that's not been driven in anger since it retired from the 1973 Tour of Mull, and the associated damage to the offside front wing is still there for all to see. It's a great time capsule of an early 70s rally car. You've got a bolt-in roll cage, you've got lots of little speedwell goodies, you've got a work-style dash. It's just a fascinating timepiece. So you could either buy that and display as is, or restore it to its former glory. The Mini has been entered from the late David Lucas's estate. It's one of 31 vehicles from that collection, which range in age everywhere from a 1929 Armstrong Siddeley 15 horsepower coach-built saloon, all the way through to a 1985 Ford Escort 1.6 gear that's warranted to have covered just 19,000 miles from new. Now, the vehicles from Mr. Lucas's collection, he was a motor engineer by profession. He collected all the vehicles from the 1970s all the way through to his death last year, sadly. And he was very hands-on, so they vary in terms of condition because he was always confident doing the work himself. But there are a lot of very sound vehicles there, a lot of very, very rare vehicles there. There's more Singer Gazelles than we've ever had in one sale before. We've got no fewer than 5 Armstrong Sidleys from that collection. So a really interesting cross-section. And if you want a period camper van, there's a 1962 standard Atlas camper van from that collection, still with all its original fittings and fixtures, the pop-up roof, the gas hob, the sink, the bed, just period perfect that. Even comes with a Sanyo record player. So at the other end of the extreme, my colleague James McWilliam has consigned 3 beautifully restored cars from the same vendor. There is a 1940 MG VA Tickford Coupe that was the subject of a chassis-up refurbishment by specialists SVW Services Limited, who specialise in MG, SA, VA and WA cars, and you can see their expertise in the car. It is beautifully done and being offered for sale at a fraction of the cost of the work. From the same seller is a 1958 Jagua XC150 SE 3.4 drop head coupe. It's a right-hand drive home market car. It's matching numbers. Like the MG, it was bought as a barn find, and like the MG, it was subject to a very, very exhaustive refurbishment. So that really is a lovely, lovely thing. Final car from that collection is a 1961 Daimler Dart. Again, beautifully restored by a marque specialist. Unusual in that it was fitted with automatic transmission from new. It's been uprated to rack and pinion steering, which is a plus point for drivability. But they are 3 very, very nicely restored cars. Age-wise, again, the sale runs all the way from the vintage period. So there is a very smart 1929 Lagonda 2-litre Tourer that has a bit of a checkered past in terms of bits from one car and another, but has existed as a sole entity, albeit a bit of a woodsman's axe, since the late 1920s, and that's really nicely finished. The current vendor spent an awful lot of time, trouble and effort, and he's a Lagonda enthusiast, making that the car it is today. It's got the distinctive registration number, TF23, and it's just a lovely, lovely thing. All the way through, we've got quite a few modern classics in the sale. Arguably the jewel amongst those is the 2000 Porsche 911 996 Series GT3. Arguably the jewel because it's one of only 106 right-hand drive UK cars produced. And of the 106, it is a paint-to-sample car, sorry. So it was painted in a one-off colour for the first owner, who also specified a roll cage, leather-faced bucket seats, all sorts of extras, carbon fibre trim everywhere. It's done less than 50,000 miles. It's got a fully documented service history. Those first generation of GT3s, as well as being the lightest, are the rawest and for many people the purest. And they were, like the Carrera RS 2.7 before them, a homologation special. So Porsche built them specifically to go racing in the FIA GT3 Cup Series. Interesting to note that the car, as a racer, its debut was the 1999 Le Mans 24 Hour, where it won its class. So that's the road-going version, one of the UK cars. In terms of future investment potential, it's way, way up there. Rather more affordable are the two, dating from the year 2000, Ford Racing Pumas that have come in from Ireland. Ford initially intended to build 1,000 of those special Racing Pumas. In the end, they built 500, of which 2 are coming from the same stable. Both supplied new in Ireland, both in need of work, but in terms of future classic, great things. Rare and huge, huge fun to drive. Another modern classic we've got is a 2002 Lotus Elise Series 2 Type 25. Now, we were fortunate enough to sell one of the Type 25 Formula 1 cars a number of years ago, and Classic Team Lotus sanctioned these Elises that paid tribute to the 1962 introduction of the Type 25, which was famous as the first monocoque Formula 1 car. The Elise tribute cars, the road-going versions, they are finished in Lotus Racing Green Metallic with twin yellow stripes, red-faced upholstery. The car we're offering is warranted to have done a little over 28,000 miles from new, still has the original hardtop and soft top, and again, just a very, very nice limited edition. It's car 46 of the 50, well worth a look. We've got also amongst the more modern classics, a 1989 Audi Quattro. Now that's one of the late 20 valve cars, which are particularly sought after. It's made extra special by the fact that it is one of 4 UK press cars. It featured in Fastlane magazine in period, in a head-to-head with a Delta Integrale, and the current vendor spent a lot of time and effort restoring the vehicle, acquiring various donors to make sure he got all the pieces. So that has been brought up to a lovely standard, well worth a look because of the history. As I say, huge range of vehicles in the sale, lots of which have been a labour of love in terms of the presentation and the restoration that's gone into them. Everything will be available to view on Tuesday, the 23rd from 12 until 6, and on the morning of the sale, Wednesday the 24th from 9 o'clock onwards. If you have any questions about any of the vehicles, please don't hesitate to get in touch. You can get hold of us on 01925 210 035 or via info@h&h.co.uk. As ever, please come along and bid in person. If you can't bid in person for whatever reason, we can accept a telephone bid or you can bid online. Do bear in mind, if you bid online, there is an additional 1% surcharge to the buyer's premium. We very much hope to see you there. It will be hopefully good weather. Why, regardless, it's a wonderful selection of vehicles. We really do think there is something for everyone in this sale, and well over 40% of the auction is being offered without reserve. So if ever there was a reason to scrabble behind the sofa for some loose change, no, there are some great cars there which have to be sold. So well worth coming along and having a look. Thank you very much.